Well, I want to thank Professor Paulson and Professor Damiani and the Global Legal Institute for Peace for inviting me here today. I'm very excited. I am one of the people that is trying to develop blockchain solutions, in particular for the international dispute resolution community. And I will say it is a trying process and it has been difficult, but for the past 8 months, my team and I have been working on a concept that we call SAMBA, which is a blockchain application. And so for the past 2 years, I've been studying the power of international arbitration and mediation under Professor Paulson at the University of Miami International Masters of Law. And about 8 months ago now, I came to her and I said, "Do you know what blockchain is?" She looked at me sideways and said, "What are you talking about right now?" And I said, "Well, I think I have an idea to improve the processes for dispute resolution." Because, as Alexis More had pointed out, the system is starting to get inefficient, and these challenges are making it more difficult for international trade to take place in the same way that they have throughout globalization's evolution. So whether it be called blockchain, the Internet of Things, the sharing economy, or the Fourth Industrial Revolution, I think we can all agree now that this digital revolution is going to impact many industries and is going to be something that every company and institution and university is going to have to face at some point. And so this has been my attempt and my team's attempt as a startup company out of Miami to bring blockchain to international dispute resolution. I'm excited to launch it here today, if it works. So, as has been explained by the speakers before me, what is blockchain technology? In the most simple terms, it's just a way to record information and data. And the benefits that you get from a blockchain database is the increased security, because the information is stored on thousands of computers across the world. It is very difficult to hack. There's no central point of attack that can go in and manipulate data or attempt to steal the data or extract it. It reduces costs because these transactions happen nearly instantaneously. Again, that decreases the transaction time. There is an increase in transparency because now you can record on the ledger every single transaction that has happened. It also enables contract automation, which some people and attorneys in particular, are afraid will replace them. I have a different opinion of that. I think that attorneys will use smart contracts as a means to offer better legal services to their clients, and a blockchain offers digital signatures for identification. So again, as the speakers have mentioned already, the evolution of blockchain, we started with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. An anonymous person named Satoshi Nakamoto released his white paper into the world, and now everybody about 10 years later is talking about it. And now we've developed the blockchain ecosystem to a point where smart contracts are possible. And with smart contracts, what we are able to do is essentially code the terms of the agreement into a computer program, and in that way the computer program can execute on its own those terms of the agreement. So this makes the entire process much more manageable, and as well as to ensure that nothing runs amiss. So now getting to the international dispute resolution community and why we are developing this concept called SAMBA. So as has been talked about, cost is extremely important concern for the parties in a dispute. In the past decade, cost has shot up enormously due to disputes taking more time. There is an issue when you have a major international arbitration and everything is paper copies being sent to either Paris or Sao Paulo or New York or DC, where you have these bundles that are of documents that are just enormous, and the process of indexing them and managing that hard copy is very, very difficult. And so through this digital technology, we can now ensure that the document management process is all digital. Indexing everything online makes everyone's lives easier. And the problem at the moment, though, is that there is no blockchain-based dispute resolution platform out there in either the blockchain ecosystem or in the traditional legal realm. And so our solution was to come up with an international dispute resolution platform that uses smart contracts and blockchain technology to facilitate the resolution of disputes in a more timely and efficient manner, which we believe will save money, speed up the process, and as well as secure the case information. In international arbitration, you have highly sensitive trade secrets and other documents that corporations or nation states do not want malicious actors to access or to be able to manipulate in any way. So with the blockchain, as has been said, it is secure. It's very difficult to impact any of that confidential information. And so I came to Professor Paulson in August, and I said, I have this idea. It's called SAMBA, and SAMBA stands for the Smart Arbitration and Mediation Blockchain Application. And that's why we call it SAMBA, because that's a mouthful right there. And what we have done is we've used the Ethereum blockchain. If anyone is familiar with Ethereum, it is one of the largest blockchains that in particular utilizes smart contract technology. And I came to her and I said, there are two primary components of SAMBA, and those are the smart arbitration contract, which is our version of a smart contract, and the international dispute resolution platform, which is a version of online dispute resolution, where the case management occurs all online. And so I'll explain the smart arbitration contract first. So what we do is we take the in your typical contract, for those who aren't familiar with it, you will have a dispute resolution clause that states, should any disputes between the parties occur or a breach of contract, we will submit that dispute to an arbitration institution under the rules of the ICC, or the Untitled is a very frequent provision that is inputted there. And so what we do is we take that dispute resolution clause and we turn it into code so that that dispute resolution clause and the rules, which are essentially the rules that control the entire procedure, are turned into code, and a computer program is generated, and that way the steps of the arbitration are executed on their own. And I'm going to show you guys actually a small demo of the smart arbitration contract in the International Dispute Resolution platform, and I'm pretty excited too because we got it to work finally, so that's great. The other half of SAMBA is the International Dispute Resolution Platform, which is a case management system or a project management system for anyone that's not familiar with dispute resolution. And some of the main components that we use are there's a document management system, there's an award enforcement portal, so essentially you go through an arbitration proceeding, the tribunal or the decision makers render an award, which is their decision, and you need to take that award and you need to enforce it in a country in front of a national court that can make sure you are paid the money that you are owed. The virtual hearing, which was discussed before, everything, it's a version of Skype essentially. The encrypted messaging service, this is like WhatsApp. SAMBA LiveScribe, which is an annotation system. If you have attorneys from one firm that are working all over the world in different offices, they'll be able to essentially pull up the same document and in real time annotate together to submit to the arbitration institution or the arbitral tribunal. And then we have another idea of the arbitrator analytics application, which would essentially be a version of artificial intelligence that suggests who might be the best decision makers for a given case. Say it's an oil and gas dispute or it is a securities dispute, who would perhaps be the most optimal choice for that. So now I'm going to show you SAMBA. Very excited to. Can you see? Oh, no, you can't see all this. That's okay. I'll scroll. Okay, so this is the International Dispute Resolution Portal, or platform. It is a blockchain application that is on the Ethereum blockchain. On this left side, you see can you guys see it or no? Yeah? On the left side, you see all of the steps in a typical proceeding. So you would start with generating your smart arbitration contract, which is essentially currently you would have to apply to an arbitration institution and say, will you administer this case for us? And we replace that step with generating a smart arbitration contract, so it will control the rules and procedures of the dispute. And you can see the other steps here on the left. I'm only going to show you the smart arbitration contract today because I know this is being videotaped and I don't want anyone running away with this. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So say I'm the claimant. I need to sue, I need to initiate arbitration proceedings because the other party to my contract decided to breach the contract in some way. We would go to the smart arbitration request form. Currently there is an arbitration request form, which is your application to initiate the dispute resolution procedures. So you see in here, there is the claimant details, which I've already filled out this morning. So I don't know if anyone has seen the new Marvel movie, but this is the government of the Kingdom of Wakanda versus the International Business Corporation, a fictitious dispute, I want to say. I did not use a real case. And this is all of the information that you would need to initiate a dispute resolution procedure. And I'm going to highlight this in particular because these rules, your arbitration rules that determine the entire dispute and the steps that you have to take and timelines. Do you have 30 days to respond to a filing, or do you have 2 months or whatever it may be, as well as what you are allowed to file and what you're allowed to submit. This is a very, very important part of the smart arbitration contract in its ability to self-execute and ensure that the entire dispute continues to be timely and efficient, driving down costs, as well as being digital. Costs are driven down because no longer do you have to bundle up a bunch of papers, give it to a courier, pay them a couple, 100 real to get it to Paris. And so now we would fill everything out, which I've done, and I would go down to generate smart arbitration contract and submit claim. And voila, you would have created your first smart contract, which is a smart arbitration contract. Now this information would be recorded on the Ethereum blockchain, but the only data that would be recorded on the Ethereum blockchain would be the smallest amount possible to prove that this smart contract, which is our smart arbitration contract, exists and that it was created in the first place. And this is very much like what a current notice of arbitration and statement of claim looks like today for parties that are in a international dispute resolution procedure. And so our goal is to make those attorneys and those parties subject to a dispute feel as comfortable as possible, and that is not some radical shift through all this technology and the complexities that are always talked about. We want it to be a simple, user interface that they can go to and they can manage their entire dispute. And if we go over to, apologies, the right, you would see their account. These are the parties to the dispute and their private keys. So it is essentially their identities. And the only users that would be able to access this information would be those that are granted access by the original claimant in the institution to say, okay, we need these other attorneys on. And so I've been told to wrap up, and I'm excited that I got to show you this today. We are continuing to develop these other features, which is the document management system, the annotation, live scribe, and the messaging service and the award enforcement portal. So we've been doing this for about 6 months. I think we've come a long way, and looking forward to hopefully coming back and showing you guys another time when it's fully completed. So thanks for having me, and yeah, have a good day.